Hi, this is Tamara with Over the Hippie Moon. Welcome to the Moon Room, a place where we create, gather, inspire, and share our stories with like-minded creative soul sisters. Welcome, Angela Murray. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's very
Yeah,
exciting.
yes.
Yeah,
So, Angela, would you like to share some information about yourself and what you do?
certainly. Yeah, my business is Living Life in Color, which I chose for a specific reason because for the first half of my life, I felt I was living in a grey world and I was wallpaper. And then in the second half of my life, I feel like I've blossomed with creativity. What I do is I'm a creative adventurer and guide, and I basically teach mostly women how to become intuitive artists. And what I mean by that is to create with no expectation and no outcome in mind. And I also use those tools plus life coaching tools to help them do that in their life as well. Because often what's appearing on the canvas is what appears in their outside life. So being able to use the two together has been really great over the years.
Oh, stunning.
Yeah, so that's basically what I do.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'd love to ask you, what's your soul purpose?
So my purpose I've discovered is really to be myself. And it's taken a long time for me to get to that because of this grand idea that I should be something else. Well, actually, when I'm being myself, that's when I attract the people that need to work with me.
Yes.
And in being myself, it's a bit like allowing them to be themselves. There's this
Yeah.
sort of coming, I don't know how to really put this, but sometimes I feel like they come to me for permission to be themselves. Not that it's my for me to give them that, but there's something in me that people want to hang out because they know it's going to be safe, and yeah. So that for me, that's what my purpose
Yeah.
is around being myself and allowing and helping other people be themselves.
And that's your donation too. Well, for those of
Yeah,
you who don't know, Angela Murray is my master coach with the Creatively Fit coaching program. And so Angela is a huge mentor of mine and inspiration and continuing to be. And I love her Living Life in Color site. You have just such a beautiful platform that you've created to help others on their mission,
yeah,
which
yeah,
I love, and I will continue to be a part of your path because I think it's so
thank you.
important to share and connect yourself with like-minded, people,
Mm,
like-minded beings. And
absolutely.
I just love your energy. And yes, you
Yeah,
are a light worker and
thank
you
you.
have a beautiful beam.
Thank
And
you. I
so,
think the connection thing is super important as well. I think that's something else is I love connecting people together. There's nothing, I have a membership, and there's nothing more exciting for me than when people create connections and they meet up outside of the membership or they're doing their own thing. That for me is super joyful because that's like it's like that ripple. It creates a
yes,
bigger ripple.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
yeah. So I love working with the creatively fit coaches for the same reason.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
spectacular. And what people don't realize is how there's a beautiful creative and intuitive frequency that's happening, and it almost ignites it. And when you're on your path, as you said, doing you, coming from your truth, there's something very magical about that. And people want to be around you. And that's why you
yeah,
probably people are drawn to you so much so, is you have just
yeah,
such a presence of peace and calm and nurturing. And I noticed even
yeah,
on your website and you had a mission statement, and it was it's you said something, my purpose in life is to create a safe, nurturing environment where you can develop your own intuitive style and flow. How beautiful is that? I think
Yeah.
it's stunning.
Yeah.
So
I think
you,
that's super important. Yeah.
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 Now, you also are a creative intuitive. And what are the tools that you've used to ignite that intuition?
The thing that really changed the way that I interacted with creativity was the discovery of Flora Bowley's book, Brave Intuitive You. And I saw that on a shelf in I've got goosebumps. I saw that on a shelf in an art store, and I was flicking through, and the pictures are beautiful. And I thought, I'm going to give this a go. And I went from painting on little paintings this big, which were very precise, to a 30 by 30 canvas, which I thought was enormous. And so she talked about this process of letting go, and there was something quite magical and really enticing about this idea of letting go, especially because I was a bit of a control freak. I wanted to control everything in my life, which, by the way, is impossible. And so through that, I learned the intuitive painting process. But what I hadn't reckoned on was how much that was going to start drifting out into my actual life. Because what I've discovered over
Gives
the
me
years is
goosebumps.
that, yeah, exactly, is that everything's a do-over. Like with a acrylic painting, because it's acrylic, you can paint over and over and over. Well, every day that you get up, you can just start again. Who says what you did yesterday needs to govern what you're going to do today? And so when I'm in that state of flow and just going with it and letting go of the outcome, life is so much easier, because a lot of the time life is hard because of what's going on in here. And so that's what I do with my students. It's around trying to break down that sort of perfectionism and comparison and just go, doesn't matter, let's just see what happens. And watching them blossom is amazing. But yeah, I think that for me, the intuitive side, I think I'd always been an intuitive of some kind. Like I've worked off my gut reaction to things for a lot of years, and I also I used to think this was a failing, but I've realized it's a strength. And it was really frustrating for my mother as I was growing up. If there was something that I didn't want to do, even if my head was saying you should do this or you're going to annoy person X, something inside me would go, nah, not doing it. No. And I've realized over the years that's actually my intuition. That's my gut reaction to something going, regardless of whatever this is saying, we're not letting you go there. And so I've actually honed that more over the years, going, actually, that's an intelligence that this doesn't need to undo. But sometimes I really just want to go, "Oh, I'll just do the thing." But my body's going, not going to let you.
Yes, yes. And so many
Yeah. So I
times in
think it's
our
all
life.
about listening to yourself. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, yes. No, I totally agree. In
Mm.
that, in life, in your 20s and your 30s, sometimes, you swat that inner voice away, and and you really don't listen to that intuitive voice. And I think, like you said, it's a redo where, the universe will say, okay, are you finished with this lesson yet? Or do you want to go big? There's just so many different ways of how life, unfolds, and our
Oh,
lessons in life.
yeah.
So there's
I
a beautiful thing about,
that's
plugging into source and being in this point of our
yeah,
life where there's a connection,
yeah,
and it's beautiful.
yeah. Oh, the universe is very powerful. I find that at times where I've tried to control the outcome, um, and I'm ignoring the signs from the universe, eventually it'll hit me with a 2x4, and I'll be flat on my back or something. Physically, something will go wrong, and then I have to lie there and go, "Oh yeah, okay, now I'm listening." So I've got better at learning quicker.
Yes, yes, yes. And
Yeah,
then there are times, you know, I find we get into a certain chapter, or maybe we turn the page and we realize we thought we were on track, but then all of a sudden, wait, 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 wait. And then it's nice to have the tools to say, okay, let's shift this energy and get us back onto that.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very
yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Um, I, I I think I love your courses that you offer. And I think when you were creating happiness, what a beautiful name. I mean, who doesn't want to be
Yeah,
happy? And
yeah,
painting happiness and dream
yeah,
big, paint big, you know.
yeah.
I personally am going to be signing up for that because
Yay.
I think it's important to be tapped in and
Mm,
you know, connected to your creativity. Sometimes we get carried away with our everyday life, and you
yeah,
just, you know, we all have to make ends meet, and it shifts your energy. And I think
does.
it's so important to stay connected.
Yeah.
So,
I
if there
mean, painting
was a,
happiness.
oh, go
Yeah.
ahead, please.
I was going to say, painting happiness was, I mean, basically, that has been my creative journey because painting happiness is about mandalas. And originally, I started out when I first started creating, they were really super precise mandalas, like really intricate. And I learned different ways of loosening all of that up. So, painting happiness became the first real exploration into starting to let go of that outcome, just making marks and see what happens. Where and then dream big, paint big is like the same but on drugs. You go with a much bigger canvas and there's no theme. We're not creating a thing. We're going to wait and see what comes out. And for me, that is so exciting as a teacher because none of the paintings that the students do are remotely like each other because what they're doing is they're painting what's coming out of here onto there. Yeah, so that's and it has been my sort of my journey to creativity, so that's why I offer those.
How
Yeah,
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you
yeah.
so much for sharing. If you were
Mm.
to give advice to someone on their journey finding their soul purpose, what would it be?
Um, Stop trying to look too big. Have a look at what's going on around you now. What are the things that you naturally do? And it could be anything. You may be a good conversationalist. You might be a really good friend. That might be your purpose, is to take those things that you naturally do and find out how far you can go with that. Because I think I said it before, we try to make these things way too grand, but actually you came here with the gifts already. You just need to use those. So don't underestimate those very small things that you do that you probably take for granted. You may be the organizer of your friend group. Well, what if that was actually something that you could take and make useful to the wider community? Yeah, I would say that's probably the best place to start is to really start here and don't underestimate the small things.
How
Hmm.
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Well, for those of you who have not seen Angela Murray's site, you can go to Living Life in Color, and she has some beautiful classes, and she's super affordable. I just blows me away. The prices and just to be happy. I think the thing is, there is just a
It's
little bit
cheaper
of
than therapy.
it's what therapy?
It's cheaper than therapy.
Yes, oh, by all means, that's for sure. And I just thank you for coming to Over
Thank
the
you.
Hippie Moon and
Yeah. Thank you
sharing
for the
the.
invite.
Oh, it's you're a beautiful soul, and I thank you so much, and I appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye, and I would just say lots of love and lots of light.
Thank you.